person listing aye. Motion carries. Report of the committee officers as the chairperson tonight. We have work. Members have any reports? Reports from first responders.
We have no special guests, I'll just acknowledge it. But yeah, we have nothing.
And on to the president, very industry. I'm here, and I'm for all the mentions. Then as far as calls go, we see a little bit last month, or since we met last, we had 46 active members, we had some resignations, and quite a few new people joining us. We're recruiting heavily on the UW campus for the med students. They're coming out and they get training and experience. We need people to just it's a really good deal. Doing a lot of community outreach. We used to have the two cross countries that first one in August, and then we had first evening, and then the Evan Crowdwell Memorial Run. Pretty busy on that one. I think we ended up with 4 or 5 calls, and we had notes in it. So it was pretty busy. It was nice that we actually staffed that in addition to the reading group. And I think we're really excited. And continue to do blood pressure clinics with speaking center with months goals pending. Going to be doing working with the Legion on the 27th, the Spooky Fun Night. We're going to have a table there. We're also working with the library doing ambulance tours and readings. We have our members going and reading to little kids. That is pretty much all I have for right now.
That Spooky Fun Night is from when to when, do you know?
I think the hours are 2 to 10.
Okay.
And the way they reached out, excuse me, was if we could be there for a couple hours, kind of pass out candy and.
Okay. Do you know what time you guys are going to be there?
All the pending, but I think between 4 and 6 is what we're shooting for.
Yeah, we have the same invite, but we're trying to figure out what time, a good time to go.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So with the departures and recruiting, you're comfortable with your staff level? That's much, yeah. Any members have any questions? Move on. We are at 125 calls for the year. To us, that was like the same as the rest of the bit, which is nice. For us, over the other day. We'll probably still up regular record for the last couple of years. Mostly until off. We did our breakfast a week and a half ago. So there's another great show. So ran a lot of people through the fire station that day. There's help doing public education, work electric on the street. That's what we'll say for those stickers. And we had one firefighter put out an August that he's going through the extra wall firefighter class this semester. Continue on to state certified prior to the next week, next semester. And we have 2 firefighters taking the so 3 different people in classes this semester, which is good. That's what I had. And you're comfortable with your stats, yeah, I mean, I tell you, most of the one again, I say, we're doing well. The businesses that people will use work there. Do you get good support for that? We have 10 firefighters that are along. So, most of them are at the island, but then and nothing drives. Police chief.
Okay, we are not fully staffed yet. We gone through 2 recruitments and have not been able to hire anybody out of those recruitments. Union contract, it looks like that's gonna be ratified here soon. It was ratified by the union officers and now it's going to village board. We're hoping that, as part of that contract, the board will allow lateral transfers, into the department, which makes it a little easier to take from other departments that are looking to move to another department, but not lose all their pay and seniority and those kind of things. Well, I'm sorry, not seniority, pay or like, sick time and some of that stuff. We're still ironing out how that's gonna work. And then we're also looking at, being able to send people to the academy. So being a sponsoring agency, most agencies are doing it now in order to get them right out of the college and then send them off to the training to the police academy. So the state will pay for that academy. The caveat is if they fail the academy, then the village would be on the hook for that amount of money. It's around $7,000. So it's a
Full-time employee.
they have to be hired first and then you sponsor them to the academy. The state pays for their academy as long as they pass. If they fail, then they send the village a bill for that. So we're hoping those 2 things will open up our pools. We're not getting obviously the candidates that we used to get. We have gotten candidates, but something or other, whether they stay with their job or take a different job or just don't pass a background or, it's an array of things. So we're doing well, even though we're shorthanded right now. A lot of overtime, a lot of extra coverage by me, but we're okay. As far as calls are, we are as of today, we're at 3,308 calls, which last year we had 3,062 calls. So we're already almost 300 past last year's volume. So we're going to blow that way out of the water. We're extremely busy. Some of the things that are highlighted for me is record checks. We're getting a lot more people wanting us to have open records. So there's a lot of time consumed in filling out those. Anywhere between, a report to photographs to video evidence. We're getting, so for instance, we've already had 3 or 4 school bus violations where somebody flew past a school bus. So we're issuing citations and people want to see the videos and those kind of things. We also, our local ordinance violations are way up. We're at 16 this year, which last year, the whole year we had 6. So we're having a lot more of those violations, those obnoxious weeds type things and those things. We're getting a lot more reported. Other things that are up is our assist citizen. So we get a lot of people just random requests, throughout the community. We're at 113. Last year we had 78. Information calls again are at a very high. It's 427 so far this year. Last year we had 249. Information ranges from just, hey, police, this is going on in my neighborhood to, can you provide us direction on this topic or that topic? So it could array from any. Open doors are way up. That's thanks to one of our night officers who is vigilant on checking doors. He's doing an exceptional job. He has 121 open doors this year, and last year we had 17. So that's a heck of a. I mean, he's rattling just about every door he can think of. So he's doing an amazing job. Just and it's the businesses really like it. I get a lot of compliments and like, hey, thanks for. I mean, some people are embarrassed that their door was open, but others are much more appreciative that it's happening. So. Special events, we are at every special. I just came from a special event. And we're at 65 already this year, and we had 40 last year. So we continue to find places to squeeze in and let the community know that we're there. Being that we're heavily involved in the school district, that gives us a lot of special events because we get invited to a lot of events within the school. The other things of note would be traffic arrests. So we've had 236 citations already this year. Our traffic problems continue. So in comparison to last year, we wrote 58 tickets. This year, we've already written 236. There's a lot of speeding going on, anywhere from 15 to 25 over. People are flying through here. The other day, one of the officers came in and said he had two people racing down Main Street during, like, it was afternoon hours. It was a Corvette and a Bronco. And when he was only able to stop one of them doing about 70, and it was a 60-some-year-old lady racing Corvette. So it's not even just kids. I mean, just reckless, careless. We've had a couple of road rage incidents where, the handgun stuff that's come through town. Can Traffic complaints continue to be a top priority. We've had 58 already this year. Last year we had 51. And then traffic stops. So far this year, they've made 580 traffic stops in comparison to 589 last year. So my staff is doing what they can and keeping these things as high priority. But I still, I always kind of talk about those 246 tickets. I've had 0 people come in and complain about the ticket. Like, everybody's the other way. Like, I've had people stop me and say, I'm so glad you guys are stopping cars and making people stop. Our crossing guard nearly got hit twice already. And we bought him a lighted stop sign that actually flashes, and he was in the middle and somebody whipped around him and nearly struck him. And like 3 days later, we had an officer sitting there and someone went through it while he was in the crosswalk while the officer was there. So it's just, people are in their phones, and before they know it, they look up and it's like, that's what's happened. So that's it for me. Yes.
Mentioned school districts, and this came up. I'm a teacher, and we have a new student who is coming from a private school in Madison, and he mentioned we got another drill. We just don't monthly drills. I was just wondering. You mentioned Park School and Glacier. Is St. Francis in on all of your plans?
They're in on all our planning. So since I got here, I included them in everything. Being that they're a parochial school, they don't fall under the same guidelines as public schools. Public schools are required to report to the Office of Safety, school safety, and they have to do so many drills. Actually, that was a special event I just left from. The school district had a safety and security invite for parents and kiddos, and so we had swag out and high-fiving the kiddos and that kind of stuff. And we also provided a place for the kids to stay so parents could actually listen to all the stuff that we were talking about active drills and what, Asher Torbett is the new person. At some point, he'll be here for this committee. I'm just kind of letting him settle in because he's extremely busy trying to, change some of the culture and some of the things that are important to change. And so he's so hard to get him to come to one of these. So he was there right now and he was explaining the drills and those kind of things. So we are involved with Patrice at that high level as well. So when she does drills, she sends me an invite and one of us goes. Normally I keep the SRO out of it because he's paid contracted to work for the public schools. But I know that he would go if we did that. We've also we do our active shooter training in those buildings, and we've done active shooter training in that building, and even ironed out some other things. Like when I got here, there was no way to get into St. Francis, so we get a key card to all the public schools, so we can get into all the schools and the district office. At St. Francis, we would have to knock on the door. So if there was an active shooter, we would have to either go through the door or knock on the door, let someone in. Now we have key fobs. Everybody has a key fob, so we can get into those buildings. So we've developed a really good relationship, included them in everything. And then the last thing I would say is our school district has they use a certain mapping system for the school inside and out, so you can see the school from a 3D, and if you're responding to an active threat. I convinced Patrice to get in on with that program, and that school is now the same as the other public schools. So we have all their maps and have access to them. Dispatch has access to them, so they're under the same system, and there's a lot of grant funding for schools. So she bought in. So we've brought her in as far as I can take her without including her into the public sector, but highly involved with her. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Westbound traffic with vintage.
Mhm.
um,
Right.
We had accidents.
We haven't had any accidents, but we've had a lot of cars. People are traveling here to go to Vintage.
Yeah.
I had lunch there the other day and I didn't recognize anybody in the restaurant. And usually I know somebody, and I looked around and there were people outside even. And, I had my staff just said, let's go down there and grab something to eat, and we went in there. I'm like, everybody, I didn't know anybody. So I felt like a stranger. And normally if I walk into a vessel, I know, 90% of the people in there. I didn't know anybody in there, so.
There's a lot of. Cars have a lot of their breaks.
Right.
Crossing, usually less than all traffic. People realize that they're keeping. Somebody sure of that, so everything is there and all that. It's nothing to do with vintage.
Right.
It's travel option.
Right.
It's not a good thing, so.
I'll mention it to the staff to focus, on some of that, but we haven't had any incidents, no crashes, nothing, not even an ambulance call there. And usually the apartment building next does require some attention. We do get calls there. But we haven't had anything with Vintage, but I'm assuming that people are like, oh, there it is, and, block it out to go in there.
Yeah, and then I hit on the third.
Right.
Just incrementally busy night.
Right.
Fast up.
Right.
Very quick. People aren't expecting that,
Right.
You're walking out.
Right.
Breaks all there all the time.
Right. Thank God nobody's been hurt, but
Yeah.
I also don't think people understand really what the yellow means. So yellow means just that someone's trying to cross. Doesn't mean you have to slam your brakes. Maybe you go through and the guy behind you has more time.
Yeah.
But I think they see the light and it's dark, so it's so bright that they're like that to them. It's like somebody's crossing or there's a bike. Kind of like when I drive in Madison. I mean, they don't even hit those things, and bikers will go right through, or So I think people are used to those big bright lights. I mean, someone's there, so stop.
The only other thing that my fear is people, if they're in the cars, it's better, likely not.
Right.
With that traffic crossing at night now, and more foot traffic,
Mhm.
right there at center, people are crossing there.
Right.
There's a times when, the county sheriff, county police flying.
Yeah.
There's a line.
Right.
50, 60. And I just agree that it's not going to be crossing.
Yeah,
I just what you can do about that other than.
Well,
I just cross my fingers because when they come.
yeah, I just received a complaint on that the other day from a couple citizens, and there is something I do. So I contacted the supervisor of the West Precinct and said, hey, this is a problem. If you're going to emergency, great. If you're coming to help us, great. I mean, we need you, but also there's, there are laws with regards to how fast you can go, and you have to act with due regard, and you should have your lights and sirens. So he's assured me that he will take care of the staff. There's, there, just not to blame anybody or whatever, but it's, a lot of times you hire younger staff, they're just, going and I remember those times.
In Mazo, right?
Yeah.
Recently,
Right.
last week, and you talk about flying.
Right.
It's a lights are on, sirens are on, but.
Yeah. If they have their lights are,
65, 70.
Oh,
Easy.
yeah, I would say,
People crossing.
right.
Then hit that blaster, you are blinding heading west until.
I guess I mean, kind of like what I would say is if it was one of my guys, I'd want to know about it. Then I'd look at it, address it. Those squad cars are equipped with GPS. They also tell you how fast you're going on video. If you're going that fast, it's recording. So that's a supervisor. Did you need to really go that fast but we won't know about it. Most people just get out of the way. Squad cars come in, they just get out of the way. My biggest concern isn't so much the lights and siren, because they do have the right of way to go as fast as they need to, being safe and using due regard. I can tell you if they hit something, you didn't act with due regard. That's what's going to happen. So everybody kind of knows that. It's the running, the complaint I received was, and two of them was running around with, looking, they were looking for somebody and it was no lights, no siren going really fast. That's very dangerous because I mean, some SUVs, a lot of people have SUVs and you might miss that it's a squad car and just because you're a squad car doesn't mean you can, drive that fast. So I did report it. We only see West Precinct deputies and State Patrol aside. So I fully feel that, the lieutenant there will take care of it, as he assured me he
I
would.
should bring it up morning on that coffee shop for the.
That's good.
I brought it up to them,
Perfect.
just to be making sure that I'm like, it makes me nervous and I'm like, you got it, you really get it, I'm just.
Right.
No more than something getting hit.
I'm sure the sheriff caught ear of that as he was sitting there. So, yeah, no, the only thing I would say for you guys or for anybody that you hear is please report it. They can report it through me. I'd want to make sure that we weren't involved too, with whatever, so I can curb that behavior. I don't foresee that being us, but I'm also my staff is going to present their best side to me, not making mistakes. And they're not normally going to come and tell me unless they, something's going on. But I share a good relationship with the West Precinct boss, and so he's on my speed dial. So he and I talk a lot. So it would be simply somebody complaining to me, and I would get it to him. I like the last two complaints I got him the phone number and say, and he said he would take care of it. And I
Some
assume,
in particular instance, I bring up with the rising
right,
risk of people
Right.
crossing in that traffic at night
Right.
without, I'm sure,
and what I'll do too, I'm in a lot of meetings with the sheriff and with some of their upper management, different committees. I'll just mention it, on those passings too. Hey, I was just at a meeting and somebody at a public safety meeting said it, and it'll just keep going in their ears. And it's not something they don't hear. Like, they go past my house. My son works at Fitchburg, and I've seen Fitchburg cops fly past my house going to whatever they're doing. But sometimes it feels like, oh my God, it's really fast, especially if you're standing still, it really feels fast. Now, I know they're probably going to an emergency or they're doing whatever. But sometimes that's scary. And like you said, if you're not going to be able to hit the brakes fast enough before you hit somebody in a crosswalk. And so I think, letting them know these things as often as we can is good. It's a good reminder for my staff. So what I'll probably do is still reduce it to writing as an email and just say, hey, you guys be mindful of your speeds when you're driving in town. It's always good to remind them. So, okay. Thank you.
Anything else for the chief? Right, committee discussion.
All right.
Discussion of possible action regarding speed sign and speed state.
Okay, so this one I had brought a while back. So I kind of let it go until it was capital improvement time to ask for capital improvement stuff. So what you see here is the first one is the quote. It's the for just these kind of speed signs. So these go on different poles. They're mobile. They move around. As you can see, they collect data like, okay, during these hours is where you're seeing the speeding problems, but they also work as signs. Like, let's say we want to keep people away from trout days. I can put down parade ahead or Memorial Day, slow down parade, something like that. And they're very bright. They're very good. They run off of solar power and battery power. So they have both. Solar power, obviously, if it's a cloudy day, we still would have batteries. I brought to you guys a while back. So I took it to the board as a capital improvement. Capital improvement requires that it be like, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe you got to at least ask for an $8,000 request or higher. So what I did was I doubled this. So I asked for two of them. So it'd be past the 8,000, it'd be nearly 9,000. They did not approve it. And it wasn't because they didn't want to approve it. I think they'll look at it again. But some of the members thought maybe we should go back to, I don't know if you guys have probably seen it, the trailer that we used to have that used to go all over town. Well, it's so outdated and it doesn't stay lit anymore. Some of the bulbs are burnt out. It's really, really old. So the board asked me to look into a trailer and they thought that we could maybe get a trailer for the amount of this or close. I knew that was wrong because I had looked at that and tried to be conservative. Um, the trailer is at the ballpark of 21,000, and that's me taking out pretty much anything luxury because they had it even where it's way better. Now, the trailer is better in that it's much more visible, it's bigger, and it's easier to, you don't have to put it on a pole. But it also has its deficiencies. You're not gonna be able to put it on every street, because like, let's say Laufenberg, you couldn't put it there. It wouldn't work, right? Well, there's a lot of streets in town that if you parked it, it would almost become more of a nuisance in the area. It'd be great for Main Street, it'd be great for Valley, it'd be great for Church, it'd be great for those bigger thoroughways. Yes, it would be great. But the cost is one of the issues. The other issue is I pull everything I've ever done in our department. I always pull my staff. They're the ones using it too, right? So what do you guys want? If you could have either one, and my staff way prefers having the mobile units, even though it's going to be for whoever's taking it off and moving it around. The data is easy to retrieve. It's a thumb drive. You pull it out. You're able to download the data to support this and that. The key with those things is, like, I get a lot of complaints that, okay, they're speeding up Lewis Street, for instance. I can actually put that sign there and it'll collect the data. And then we know, yes, they're speeding from 4 to 7, but no other time. So then I could direct the staff, say from 4 to 7, let's focus on Lewis Street because we know there's speeders there. Or I could also have that data and say, nope, there is no speeding problem there. I've left that speed sign up for a month and we're not, it seems like they're speeding, but they're not going that fast. So it helps curb a lot of things, but I also like the fact that this also gives a signage, an opportunity to put parade or we have a flood, that's kind of what it shows, flooded area or whatever. We can move them around pretty easily. The other one, it would be nice to own all of it. It would. And I think I can maybe start looking for some grants, or maybe the other trailer was purchased by the community. Like, it was purchased by, I believe, like the Lions Club. Everybody kind of gave some money. So I could make my rounds and maybe pay for this $20,000 sign by the community. Maybe they'd be gracious enough to do it. However, what I need from you guys is help me make a recommendation to the board on one of these. I believe either one would be more beneficial than not having them. Staff would prefer the dual signs, and I think the board, now that they'll see the cost, will probably prefer these two. But I don't know. Maybe there was already pushback of, why don't you go looking for grants? Grants are hard to come by, especially for equipment. It's hard to hang your hat on grants. They're always very competitive, and they're always kind of a match grant. So you still have to put up $4,000. So that's kind of why I'm here, because I'd like to propose something for capital improvement. I don't want to be greedy and ask for all of it, but I think, I either one I would support, if whatever you guys think for as a support. I just thought I'd bring it to you guys so I can get the support again and put it back on the agenda.
So if we do the signs, you would like there too, correct?
Yeah. Well, two, we'd almost need to, just because capital improvement requires a certain amount of money.
Well, it seems to me there are 2 signs.
Right.
2 signs.
Right.
Last from the trailer.
Right.
2 signs give you the mobility. Virtually anywhere you want.
Right.
I was, can the chairman make a motion to go?
Yep. Anybody can make a motion and second and vote it, and then I'll reduce it to a memo to the board.
Well, I'll make a motion that they come back to this proposal with 2 signs instead of the one big trail. I think it's a great safety. There's no downside to this, and $8,000 not kind of spend reckless, but $8,000 is not a ton of money for what this can provide the police department.
Okay.
Is a little bit more flexible on Main Street, too.
Right, yeah. You can move them pretty much anywhere there's a pole that you can, it kind of has a strap. So, and then it straps onto that pole.
Well, and having been involved with the trailers and works and I already had a trailer. it's-
Right, charge it.
They can give it, charge it up.
Right.
Here. This
Yeah.
is, let's put this up there.
So,
That's not all money.
and you know, when I first, what did you say? Well, right, yeah. And in the winter, we weren't even pulling them out anymore because at the winter time it was so hard, but every now and again I'd come into town and we had a trailer out and it wasn't even on. It had burned, it died. And then so then it's pointless, you know.
So I guess I'm the end of that. Maybe six boys.
Okay.
We purchased over 2 signs. It's not as much as one trailer and provides the village. So
So Mark, you wanna know, there's a two in the time block. Google Friends, and it really does, that's my drive, it really does, 'cause it's just a quick
Right.
snapshot, oh, I'm going 40, I just need to slow down.
And we're used to it. Springfield Road has one and anybody who comes in there, unless you're from, usually the ones we catch speeding are the ones from town that know that's there. But anybody coming, visiting town, they're hitting the brakes. You can almost see the front of the car dip down like, oops, that's how fast I'm going. And there's no grace. I mean, it clicks at 26. That one is that sign. It's no mobility that was built into there. I don't know who controls it, but I know it's been there the whole time I've been here, and I think it's powered all the way to the ground. No, that one was, I think that just was, somebody put it up. It must have been, it had to been us at some point. I don't know how long it's been there. Yeah, yeah. And that one works well. I mean, people do slow down. It does help people slow them down. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen it. I mean, I've watched it.
Yeah.
It's usually our locals that get so used to it. They're like, yeah, we know it's not there. But anybody coming through town that doesn't know the town, they're hitting the brakes because they automatically, it's like a wake up call. And it'd be similar to that. It's a little bigger because so you can add wording to it, but not much bigger. Yep, yeah, they're programmable. I think there's an app for it. I mean, everything is, I mean, it's a pretty good piece of equipment for program.
And there's always the unknown on whether there's a camera on it. Yes.
Right, that one looks like there's a camera on it. It looks like a little blue light, and it does look like a camera, but it's not, but.
It's not all big one up there.
Right. So they do make them a little bigger, bigger than that, but the person who I was speaking to said that if you get the next size up, you would need 2 people to be able to hold it up, and it's too heavy for one. But this is the most popular because it's a 1-person job, and so a lot of times you just assign your night officer to be okay. You know what? Move that from there, and it's grab it, pull it off, put it somewhere else, and it's pretty simple. Yeah. I mean, if the board denies it, I'll be looking for grants. I'll be looking to talk to community groups, Right, right, right. Well, we can move it all over the place, so. So, yeah,
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Yes, second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
this next topic, I was hoping either Mike or. And I did, in the packet, I did send you a letter. This was from a person who witnessed the crossing guard nearly get struck. And I mean, they were very upset over the whole topic. And this is a specific reason why those signs are, they're not going to prevent someone from getting hit, but anything we can do, I think we should. I just shared it because she asked me to share it, so. The next topic is, this came to us from the Parks Committee. So Tim Hellenbrand is proposing, if you read the summary, basically he has proposed a change of street lighting at Hillebrand and Bourbon Road to enhance lighting within Glacier Valley Park Playground. He's requesting light pole 4, which is that exhibit, be rotated into the park, moving it away from the street as this space seems to have ample lighting on the street. Sounds like they've already talked to everybody who they had to, and it's not going to affect, supposedly not going to affect, you know, the lighting there, but it will make more lighting in the park. That's the request. They have recommended it, they want to make a recommendation to the village board to approve the rotation of the lights. But because it's a public safety issue to eliminate light or add light or whatever, they asked that we also support it. I don't see an issue with it, and I think in my comments with them is, once they do it, if we see that this is bad, we just ask them to turn it back, to put it back.
We're literally spinning the light.
Yeah, you're just spinning a light, and it sounds like this is something that's been done before, so it's not, you know, they do these at parks after you build a big old park that they need more lighting. You know, especially in an intersection like that, that's well lit already, and it is well lit. Anybody driving past Bourbon Road is, it's pretty well lit, but I think that was on purpose, because at one point that was your main street when Main Street was being reconstructed. So I think they made that for heavy traffic use, for heavy truck use, that kind of thing. But so they're asking to spin that around. Park, it looks like the parks has recommended it. Made a recommendation to approve this, so. So if you guys, from the perspective of public safety, I mean, I don't know if it'll pass full board, but I don't see anything here that would. If it became a problem for safety after they move it, then we just ask that they move it back. I mean, we'd bring it back here and, you know, either that or they should add an additional light or something,
So literally what it's accomplishing is really,
right? It's taking one of the lights and illuminating the park in a well-lit street that has other substantial lighting, according to everybody who's researched it.
but it seems to me that we're not waiting a thing that's something that we can be talked about. It's
Right.
turns out to not.
Let's go right into the word across the meters.
Yep, it's that, and it's right, that's that first big, right at the park.
Yeah, right there, right here.
So I would assume you're looking for a motion.
Right, yep,
We're in favor of the idea.
recommending this to the board.
I'll make that motion. Second that. So the motion is second, any discussion? Those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same thing. Motion carried.
All right, the last thing I just. So the last thing I just wanted to show you guys, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk it through first. So the committee, we have a committee that's been working on the new Village Hall Police Department with our engineering firm. We've met multiple times, we've had multiple designs. We're still working through the footprint of what that's gonna look like. And some of the things, so initially, the budget was to have a 15,000 square building. That's what was the hope, the original, and that came from the 2013 study. But that, if you're building a building for the future, you got to build it bigger than 2013. They already had kind of identified that probably was too small for the even future. So we're trying to build a building that stands 40 years, 40, 50 years. I mean, to get it built again would probably, it's going to take a lot. So we're trying to get it right. And we've had back and forths on size. Right now, the going rate is about $361 a square foot is what the cost is for construction, or that's what we were last quoted. So our building has gone from 15,000 to 18,000 to back to 17,000, just eliminating spaces and space needs. The board would like, or not the board, but the committee is asking all the committees that are involved. So for us would be public safety, police department to help make a recommendation to the board as far as which footprint you would want. We're kind of, so if you look at them, the one that is in yellow, which you guys don't see yellow, but it's the, let's see, connects. Okay, if you look at the garages is kind of the big deal. So the way this will sit is, so this is the one that the committee would like support on. This is the other option. So if you look at it from the option of, trying to see what, this is the one that can use it. It's the one where the garage is one door garage. So it's a one door garage. So this is the one door garage, and this is going to be this one. Needs to go together. Just like that. No, so this would be the desire. Everything on the top is the same. And there's some things that are condensed a little bit just to make it work. Is whatever you do, you have to do the top. You can. So basically, this square is the square. Everything beyond this is the community. This will be the hall. This will be what they do all business. It'll be community rooms so people can come and have whatever. You also have outside. So the trail goes right through here. So the west part will be on this side. So the trail goes right through here. So these toilets will be open for the community to use that kind of thing. Parking and stuff will be around back and up front. The committee would really like support on this one. It just makes the most sense as far as like curb appeal is one of the big reasons. So remember, this is the water. This is the creek. This is where that new pavilion is going to go. So the other option is to do it this way. It does save us space and it does save us money because then the garages would be 6 individual stalls. So, but you have two garages to one door, 2 garages to 1 door, 2 garages. So that'd be 3 doors instead of the 1. So it would look less like a garage and more like a just one kind of entry. The other point of it is this, as it is, that's what it is downstairs. My staff routinely bump into something because it's all tight down there. And that's what they say you're going to here. Where this, you're coming in and there's more mobility within that.
What date is on that, September 25th or October 9th? The one that we.
October 9th.
Okay.
October 9th. No, that's what you can do. So it's September and October.
So if this plays out. It's gonna make a difference.
Yes, no, we want October, yeah. So they want.
They're gonna be more.
Mhm.
It's a little bit lower, and also this could be an exposed lower level, like this is the technically ground level ramp up.
Yeah, this could be flush with basically they're flush with Congress. And they'll be parking up here, so you'll come in, you'll come into one side. And they'll be parking us in. But the difference is obviously the footage, the footprint of bigger having, so it'd be 17,000 square foot, where we had started at 1582. So if you do the math, you know, it's another 500,000 extra dollars that we have to ask the board. But I guess Jay really wanted us to bring it to the committees and see what you guys would support. The footprint of it is pretty identical. It's pretty identical. They're
A little bit less finish space.
Right.
In the lower level.
right.
Okay.
I mean, everything has been, I mean, we've worked on this for about 10 meetings, you know, 3 hours of meeting and a lot of side meetings, just a lot of side discussions. My staff, all of this been presented to the staff. They obviously they would support, they want the one that we've chosen. It's just better. It's more spread out, gives us a little more room for growth. There is a couple of things that like for instance, Matt, he's my evidence tech. He feels like the evidence room is a little too small on that design. But again, those walls still can move. We can still, cheat from here, take from there, that kind of thing. The biggest expense is the garage. I think the garage adds, that's where we could cut about 2,000 square feet if we went from the single garages to just that overall general garage. So again, we're going to ask. It doesn't mean that they will approve, but we also want to see what support, because if a committee is like, well, you wouldn't support that for cost wise, then we need to know that off the top. So that's where we're at with that. As the building, I have, I can share these as well.
Real quick,
Yeah,
I know that evidence from a little bit, but it's also. Yeah.
right, right. So this is maybe. What's that one? Or that, so you guys can see it. Well, this is what we're looking at. Bigger thing, so they even added like the dashboard, just so you can view it, what that actually looks like. So you'd walk in here, walk in through the front, to the left would be the police department, so this would be the administrative assistant handling all the stuff. This is pretty much secure back here, you can't get back here, so that's secure, so this would be secure. Basically this would be secure, so you'd walk in, you have the administrative assistant, and the first one here, you got future roles, future, most of our this is where the staff will be. And then you go downstairs and then you come here. You've got the toilet, soft interview room, so the cups of each talk to us. This is what we would use. The break room is here. This is all, that's all shared space, so that is outside of the security portion. The quiet room is required, not as a quiet room, but as a meditation room. You have to have a meditation room sound, and so it's going to double as a quiet / meditation room. And then, so that's pretty much all of us. The rest is obviously village hall and that kind of stuff. Then you've got the community room. Then if you go downstairs, this would be up downstairs. They can come in, go down. This will be the secure door, so you can't get downstairs. Unless you're able to. So this downstairs leads to an intox room. This is where we have our intox machine for OWIs to process that. The hard interview room, which is more for real suspects, the higher, where the security type things. A toilet, so they can have a toilet. We'll have certain things in there like cutoffs for water and things like that. So like plus that kind of stuff. General storage, armory would be where we would keep any weapons that are out of squad cars, including our tasers and something. The locker room, this wall has been taken out, but we're trying to get that back in. There's a wall that they took out of which right here. Where instead of having it just open, have this wall for future growth. So right now we only have 10 lockers. The 10 lockers right now we're already at 8. So 2 officers would fill that spot, but then you'd have future growth for future lockers. So don't you need that wall? Well, there is no privacy because these will be unisex fitting, but you shouldn't be changing here. So the bathrooms will have the changing stuff. They lock the door and always have a little bit of shower. We're still trying to find out one of the showers is that that's significant cost in your every shower and stuff. But they're still researching it because we have so many females in the department that you gotta have, even though you can have neutral gender, you should have 2 because of that. But we have a policy already in place that prohibits officers from changing in common areas. Although this was common to us, it's not something that they need to change to be here.
Is it an issue that you don't have an elevator on your side?
So there is an elevator, but it doesn't know. there's no issue that way, because we can access the elevator this way, and then just cross.
They would never use that elevator for period.
No, well, even if we did, we could come down that elevator and then just, because we'd have access to all of it. So if we did have somebody that needed, there's only need for one elevator. The other thing, this fitness room. It was hopefully we get a fitness room, but it's not very big. Basically, if you see the equipment there, you're only gonna be able to fit maybe 4 pieces of equipment, so it's not that big. They'll mark it out. We'll be willing to get rid of that space and add it instead to the fitness room in your case, because that's what we really need. And move maybe this emergency management down here to where the evidence room. So that will be my proposal when I sign up and talk to the staff. But this is a common area. So this is the whole village staff. They know, it's not for us. So I mean, you may get some pushback like we want journals, so I don't know. Well, we're still working on that. And then the garage will have, if this is what's supported, we'll have a 6-car garage. This will be a locked stall, so if we have a car going across that, that's what we need to secure it. Right now we have 4 squads, so there's 3 squads and we have a training squad. So that won't change. So we're already nearly at limit. We're already maxed out. So I think if you added a couple officers, you're gonna have to add at least a couple more squads. So I think you're gonna outgrow the 6. Within 10, 15 years, but, who knows, right? So, but I think that's a good start. And there's parking out here, so if we had to mark a spot, it's like, I'm gonna show you that one, everybody hates it.
Not for chamber. No, top of chamber. Space. Office.
Like a space for,
Like Chamber of Commerce, like an office.
I don't know if has that ever been brought up?
It was going on at one point in time.
Okay, good enough.
But
Maybe not moving forward.
but maybe and that hasn't been brought up in any of those meetings, but I could definitely bring it up.
Time. So.
I will, what I'll say at the next meeting, I'll say, hey, so a member brought up that at some point there was talk about a chamber office
Or
spot,
that's a spot.
right?
Yeah.
And there is in the center here, as you can see, if you can see, there in our plan, in this last plan, if you look at it, there's future growth.
Right.
So that would be a spot. Also, these are cubicles. They're kind of a general area. So that's already 4 spots. That's the proposal, is that's where our rec coordinator and there's the 2 positions that Mike has under him. That's where they will go. So it won't be offices. Same with my staff. They won't be in an office. They'll be in a general area
Right.
together. So that's kind of what we're thinking. So maybe one of those spots can be that.
Obviously a while ago, but I just.
Where she doesn't have an office, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I'll just quickly bring these up. People hate them. They look like a school, and so if you look at, this is what we presented to the community way back when. We keep getting this and this. And this was all red, which means that the community hated it. What we wanted was green. So really, this is what the community voted for. And this, so it's way better, and even this is better, but this is what we're getting. We're getting a lot of that, and it's not flying. So we've basically told them you need to aim for this. My guess is we were getting this because it's probably cheaper. Nobody has said anything, because you start adding rock and all of this stuff, it's gonna drive up the price. We haven't heard yet, so I don't know, but this is what the community voted for. You can see all the green. That's really what they wanted. This was high on the list too. But definitely they didn't want a house. They already have that. And they didn't want this transitional. This is schools. So contemporary, it's a little more artsy, but I don't know if that goes really good with the firehouse next door. So, and people did mention that, like some want it to kind of blend in, and some are like, we'll make it unique, but this might be too unique. I think that would fit more with our fire department and what we're looking for.
Agreed.
So, yeah, the landscape is
Yeah.
beautiful there. It's just, that just looks very boxy, but that's what we've been getting. This looks like an elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I can share with them too that Prairie is more supported by this committee. This is what, I mean, you can see it. Those are the green dots of the community. That's what they wanted. I think some were like, oh, it'd be kind of cool, you know, like, probably people from the Madison area, you know, a lot of more contemporary stuff. This one got a fair share of votes, and I think it's because of the multiple colors, you know, kind of like that, but that was by far,
Okay.
and this is awesome. I mean, that is really awesome.
Okay. I think it works well.
Like, nobody wanted this,
That was good present to me.
right? Doesn't, I mean, definitely nobody wanted that. I mean, I think we didn't get one green, so that's what we're getting.
And the old day,
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of it, yeah.
Yeah.
across from our school there, who's, looking to be a woman.
So that I was asked to bring it to you guys to show you what we were working on and then to gauge your support on one of the two projects if you're willing to go out on a limb. And that's it. That's kind of where we're at.
You need that as a motion.
If you do it as a motion, I will prepare it as a memo and give it to the board.
So for the plan dated October 9th. I'll motion. To do the board, the plan for the plan.
We have a second.
Again,
We have a motion and second in discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying
Right.
aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Okay.
Motion carries.
All right, future items. I don't have anything. We've been really good. I mean, I really do appreciate this committee. I know when I first started here, believe it or not, it's been 5 years. That's crazy to me. But we had a list that was as long as my leg when I first started here, and we got through it all. And I've put it out to the village board. I continue to put it out to my staff, anything safety, but I think we've addressed a lot of things. We will continue to get things, but I don't have anything new as of now.
Well, not new, but I need a deadline, please. For my.
For your grant, so I think, so I mean, then I can definitely forward you that what,
I contacted Tammy.
okay, you got, okay.
I need a for now.
So, I mean, it's up to you guys. Do we want, I mean, grant funding is important, but a lot of grant funding is done for this year. I mean, I think Tammy learned it. I mean, a lot of it starts almost at the turn of the year, and then some start in the middle of the year because of fiscal stuff. So, I mean, we can table it or keep it, keep looking for grants. I'm looking for grants too, especially IT grants. One of the things that we're starting to budget things out, and I think the budget for IT for this project is like 40 grand. That is not gonna cut it. I mean, that'll probably just be our key fobs. I just got approval to put 3 new squad videos. Those were dated, and 3 new squad computers, and that cost us 38,000. So that you're not going to be able to equip the building full of security cameras for 40 grand. So, I mean, we'll have to look for grant funding or take from one place or another because.
you brought this up. Beginning of summer, you had mentioned something that maybe that's what the village should do, is not somebody who's spreading grants for everything.
So they tried, and it didn't work out. They were really working on getting a committee just recently. So I was at the last meeting before when we did this. I won't share, but it got pretty contentious there for a bit because it's been a concern of mine for a while that we have not dealt with any IT stuff. I had worked with 3 companies to get the IT stuff, and then I was told that they were going to develop a committee. It didn't get developed. So I had a few choice words for Jay about it because I've been concerned about it, but it was taken from me and now it's back on my plate. So we're visiting a couple sites for technology stuff. A company, we're doing a couple tours of what we're looking at and then really what we really are gonna need. So the first step that we're doing is we're meeting with our engineering firm and making a list of, okay, what is it that we would like to see in this building? What's important, security, surveillance, those kind of things. And then once we have that list, then we're gonna meet with individual companies to almost get a quote and get an idea of what that cost is gonna look like, a real cost, not a $40,000 budget, because that's not gonna cut it. So not for IT. Well, definitely don't buy the phones, like, but they want everything They-
I'm going through that. This summer.
the key fobs, that alone is, I mean, you're talking about different permissions, different fobs all over. I mean, it's 17,000 square building, there's a lot of doors, so just that alone probably be 40 grand. So
What is the target of this approach?
Uh,
No.
no, the target is May 2025, they go into the ground. So and then they say that they want a year to construct it. So we'd be going in next year, June, 2026, June.
Mhm.
So May to June where they construct, get everything in, but we're in the building June, July of 2026. That's not a long time. That's 18 months from, I mean, 20 months from right now. And they haven't bid anything out yet. They do have a good timeline, like, and this is what they do, right? So they're gonna know, okay, we gotta get these bids out. This is the next step. They do have a timeline and as early as May 25 to start digging. So,
I have a quote for to add 6 doors to our existing door lock system. Interior doors, so interior strikers, interior keypads, nothing waterproof, nothing sunproof, all that stuff. It's $26,000.
right, yeah,
Yeah, I do exist. We already have red boxes.
right.
So.
Yeah, it is technology is not cheap, and if you're trying to make this place safe, there's several features that I want for the building, like the vestibule where you come in. If somebody's trying to get away, they should be able to hit a button and lock that door, so that way they're safe even after hours. Like you can get into the vestibule, lock front door. Yep. Yep, you hit a button. A lot of police departments have started to do that. Especially if you have like I'd like to have a spot in the parking that says like a sign says safe, safe zone, child custody zone. It's videotaped, so people can be like, hey, instead of going to Quick Trip where there's tons of people, we're just gonna go to the PD, park right there, do our exchange. It's videotaped. Something happens, it's captured, right? But if something worse happens, so we've had people come here to the PD banging on the door. We awarded somebody for one of our employees for letting them in. They were trying to get away from an abuser. That would have been godsend because then they could have made it in there, hit the button, locks the doors, you're not getting in, and then it alerts the police that someone is in there locked up. Yep, that's in the plan. That's all part of our plan. Panic buttons, the but think of all those people that could use it.
Yeah.
And then there'll be, there's already other things in the plan, like where the secretaries sit to have those be bulletproof type of glasses and things like that. So you still communicate, but you're safe and not just sitting ducked right up front. Um, they'll be, looking for panic buttons and things like that. I mean, they have them in all the schools, and so it's very similar to that, especially now that if you're gonna really, like, this room's not used by the community. If you're really going to host the community to come and use it, that means everybody, so that you don't know what is gonna happen in that room. So you gotta provide us a safe room for that. So I mean, there's a lot of cool things happening, but it's gonna require a lot of money too. You think of Middleton was built with $10 million. You couldn't build Middleton PD with $10 million today. Be no way. I mean, you probably double that. So it's just, it's expensive to build today. So
And give you an update real quick on the pavilion.
Yeah, please.
Well, over 70, already now, as you can see, percent there. So the goal is 500,000, we, were able to secure a $250,000 grant. And Lions have raised over 100,000. And the rest is coming in right now, so this is our big corporate, our capital fundraising campaign is on right now. Our goal is to hit the 90%, or 100% by the end of November. It's one good. So we will break ground and do kind of a shovel turn truck days in May as well. So if you think about that, it's pretty cool from a community perspective to break ground or to do that in 2 different within the park and just across the tracks and with the state or with the village hall.
Yeah, a lot of cool things are happening here.
Yeah.
I don't know how much PI has shared, but it's all over the community that I've heard. They haven't said much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that people are talking about it. PI is looking to develop that property that was always thinking about being developed. So it's in the early stages. It's come to the to department heads and village staff on what that looks like, but something pretty cool. If they were able to accomplish it, it's gonna be pretty cool. But there's a lot of things, but there's a lot of cool things happening here, and so the swimming pool committee's well ahead of where they need to be with regards to community input and stuff like that. So they've already agreed on the location. I think they got village board to kind of commit to Bear Park. But again, Bear Park is going to require development. It's going to require roads. I mean, it's already heck to get in there in the mornings. So it's going to require some things. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Public safety stuff will continue then.
Oh, yeah.
As we grow.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these projects that we're doing too.
Right.
Back to that end.
So, yeah, the next meeting is scheduled for November. The question is, do we want to have, we've taken breaks in the holiday season. We've done, yeah, and we started back up in January. The only thing I see on our agenda is grants, to look at grants, and it's pretty narrow right now. There isn't a lot, but it gives some time to keep looking at them, and maybe something we start applying for at the turn of the year or get someone to apply. I also would like to keep pushing. Cameron is kind of the IT guy on the board, so maybe he could continue to push to have a IT committee and a grant writing committee that has come to the board before. When Andy, what's his last name? When he was on the board, he proposed a grant committee, grant writing committee, and it didn't go very far. He wanted 5,000 to start doing that. Andy Hartman was on the, and he really wanted to push for a grant committee. So maybe it's time for that. That'd be nice, because then you could, anytime we have something that we want for grant, that committee could just, it's usually made up of people who've written grants. It's, they have templates and they know where to go get stuff.
Is there any reason for us to move the funding?
If you'd ask me right this second, no, but we could always call a meeting if there's something major. Last year we didn't have one in November, December, I think.
November is
Right.
I have no problem. Ad hoc if we need it.
Okay, we'll just say that our next meeting is January, and it would be, right now let's see, January 14th, yep. And meanwhile, if you guys want to continue to research grants, or things will come up and say, hey, these are going to be due in June, or that kind of thing. And I'll continue to work on with Cameron to see if we can work on something with the board. What do you guys do for grants? Do you guys just apply or do you
Yeah,
normally?
what we've done is, TNR, which is. Yeah, it was a bit of a, it was pretty easy, it's a form. You just get the data, there's not much of a narrative. We've done feeder grants in the past, feeder grants are really hard to get, for the small things like us. We're in a weird spot, because our budget money is good. Our equipment is
Right.
The feeder grants are going for like, the regional tech rescue type stuff, sitting down, thinking scratch all type of tech rescue over there. Because of the regional, that's not.
How about the DNR?
Like,
What do you get for DNR? For,
And then it's, like this year we did, it's $12,000, that's one of the internal here, so not a big price, and all this stuff, it's still on this, and then wildland, firefighting homes, which is much smaller diameter. So yeah, it's anything that DNR has in there. Those things, some of it's kind of a jumble on it. You can put radios in your DNR grant, but you only fund up to $2,500. You can't touch a portable radio for $6,000.
right, just one radio.
Yes, I mean, the speaker next to the computer. I just don't like it. So, some of the stuff is a little, the state's outdated, that's what they're saying. Probably works with much more local communities that don't.
Then maybe have 3 radios or,
Yeah, big radio system type stuff like we have here. I think there's a couple of you have to have a. Yeah, so a lot of people pay for it.
yeah, that's,
Maybe you pay $25,000, they guarantee you $30,000, so it's return on your investment at the end of the day. But you're still budgeting for a grant writer.
yeah, and in hopes that it works. Yeah, we have, so Lexipol does our policies, that's who we go through. Lexipol has a grant writing team and it's like $1,500 a year to have them on and they go out looking for the grants, but you know, it's like, well, you're already in the whole 1,500, so. I mean, where do you get it? Where do you get that? And there's no, they don't guarantee anything. I mean, they'll say, we have good success rate, but what does that mean? So,
We're not as fast to work. We're not easily. And we're not small.
Right.
Outside of here was that's what I turn out here from. I mean, there are still departments in the north that don't have air.
Yeah.
Those are the departments that are.
Or the big department, like for us, is the big departments like that need funding for additional staff because they've had 3 murders in the past, whatever. So yeah, we're in a good spot, but then so we're like in that middle. It's tough.
The city lessons is that program, I believe, is like 80% very funded.
Yeah.
That's because they come up with basically Johnson Creek the black, so.
Right.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion, a second, all those in favor, say
Aye.
Nobody's opposed.